Someone You Should Know, a program about people you know and even more that you don't. Hosted by Stuart Sax, veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. Now, here's your host, Stuart Sax.
Well, good Wednesday morning to you. Thank you for taking a little time out of your day to spend it with us on Someone You Should Know. We are brought to you in part today by our good friend Irving Chung from Fran Choice. And Irving, if you have ever given any thought to what franchising is all about, you don't have to make a commitment. You can have a consultation with Irving and just say, hey, tell me a little bit more. I have a little bit to invest, or maybe I just won the lottery and I want to put 10 million into a franchise. Irving will be more than happy to help you, especially if you won a lottery of $10 million. But you would be surprised. Talk to Irving, because you would be surprised that there are some part-time franchises that are available at very, very affordable prices. Well, I'm very, very pleased to have a very special lady on the show with me today, because you're going to learn a lot of things that you probably never knew. And that's the point of this show, is to introduce you to people that are people that you should know that you didn't know. So Corena Mitchell, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a very, very special young lady, because the first thing that I must do is to thank you for your service to our country, because you served 16 years in the military. What branch were you in, and what were your special areas?
I was in the Army. My specialty was communications. So I was the one responsible for making sure that we stayed in contact with our soldiers if they were out in combat or out on a mission, things like that. And then I had two. My second one was human resources.
Oh, okay, very good. So you were then in charge of putting people in the right places, depending
Yep.
on their special talents and all, which
Yes.
is extremely important in today's military. And what were the years of your service?
From 1994 to 2011.
Okay, so you've been out for a bit of time now. You've probably seen a lot of changes in the military since you were in. Did you was most of your duty stateside, or were you deployed?
I was deployed. Other than that, the majority of it was stateside. I actually met my husband while deployed in Iraq.
And you've been married how long?
We've been married 14 years now.
14 years, and I think you got two kiddos.
Yes, we have two girls.
And how old are they now?
They are 9 and 14.
Oh, you got a teenager.
Fun.
You got a teenager, and you got another one that thinks she's a teenager already, right?
Yes.
I know the drill.
Fun.
Well, one of the reasons that I invited you to be on this show is because of an organization that is based here in North Texas, that you are affiliated with, and it is a phenomenal organization. It's called Attitudes Attire, and I want you to share with the people that are watching and listening, who, by the way, are from all over the country. Tell them a little bit about what Attitudes and Design and Attire is all about.
Okay. So I've been with Attitudes and Attire now for 5 years. I run our Boost the Hills program for female veterans, military spouses, and first responder spouses. But I started off as a client myself. I was found and invited to the program when I was in a very dark place in my life. I was undiagnosed for PTSD, depression, anxiety. I had a lot of physical ailments going on with me, and I had come to the conclusion that my family would be better off without me. So I was about 6 days from going through with my plan when I was invited to Attitudes and Attire. Sounded like this wonderful opportunity, but I declined and said no because I had no intentions of being around. And I feel God intervened. He weighed heavily on my heart to go. I didn't know what to expect from Attitudes and Attire. And when I got there were two things that stuck out for me. For one, the reason why I advocate and share my story, no matter how uncomfortable it is because someone shared their story with me. And that's what stopped me from ending my life. And that's what got me the help that I needed. And through the resources at Attitudes and Attire, and they took care of me. Like, not only did I go through that workshop for 2 days, but they stayed in contact with me. They made sure I had everything I needed. And I even started volunteering with them. So at the program, the first day, we work on women from the inside out. So we focused on setting goals, making smart goals, self-esteem, something I didn't think that I didn't even realize I needed, but I did, and learning, about the inside, and then building boundaries. And when they got into the subject of boundaries, they asked what were our boundaries, and I had no answer. I had no boundaries. I just been raised differently. So it was a bit shocking to me. And as I learned about boundaries, I knew I needed some to be successful. I needed those tools to get past where I was currently in life. So after I went through the workshop, they have this beautiful boutique with sizes 00 through 8X extra large. And we got a professional outfit. We got the scarf, the jewelry, the shoes, the handbag to go with it. And then
Wow.
we continue shopping for business casual and weekend wear. And there's an image consultant dressing you. It's beautiful clothing, donations, and we're always looking for donation of clothing, accessories, shoes, handbags, and even business casual or just everyday clothing, because the women are starting off again and kind of need a bit of everything. And I didn't even realize that I needed that, but someone dressing me and making sure that I looked appropriate and nice, it was so overwhelming in the most positive way.
That in itself is just an amazing story, and we will be scrolling the website for attitudes and attire .org, so you can reach out and see what they are all about. But at this point, I do want to give a big shout out to Lynn Berman, who is the executive director and the founder of Attitudes and Attire, and she's been doing this for quite a while. So what you're talking about is building up this boutique and this inventory of clothing for the clients to have access to in order for them to take that next step in their lives is a huge undertaking, and it's something that I know Lynn is just so passionate about, and she thinks the world of you, and I'm sure that it's reciprocal too.
Thank you. Lynn is amazing. She started Attitudes and Attire 27 years ago. She had a vision, and here we are 27 years. And I know we have well over another 100 years to run Attitudes and Attire. Her vision, her passion, everything. Lynn has taught me so much. She is amazing. I wouldn't have accomplished the things that I have if it wasn't for Lynn teaching me, yes, as much as she has.
And folks, you might think, well, that's a nice program to be able to help a few young ladies, veterans and non-veterans, who are either down on their luck, maybe they are from a broken home, a bad situation, and they're trying to reinvent themselves, and they have a program like this. But this program, folks, has served over 26,000 women. 26,000 women have become a new person because of attitudes and attire, and it's a great program. And you mentioned at the beginning of the program that you initially went into the program as a client, and I was shocked to learn that the initial program is 2 days. So it's an intense program to say to this young woman, you know what? You are of value. And in the next 2 days, we are going to show you what that value is. So walk us through a little bit of what those 2 days are all about and what it meant to Corena Mitchell.
Okay, so day one is where we focus on the inside. We have a workbook that we use that Lynn wrote. Um, is the Attitudes Attire workbook. And so you're given a workbook, and Lynn always makes brownies for all the clients. She makes the best brownies. So we have water and coffee set up, and you come in there. So it's a nice welcoming setup, and we go through the book, and we learn about all these things, and we talk and we cry. And I always say, if one person doesn't cry in the workshop, I failed. But what's amazing is you get to release some things that you've been holding in. When you get a bunch of female veterans and spouses in there, we speak each other language, we understand each other a whole lot more. And the camaraderie that we feel in that room is just beautiful. By the time when the workshop starts, you can kind of see that a few of the women, they're down, their heads are down. But by the end of the workshop, at the end of day 2, they're smiling, their head is raised, and they have that pride that we once had. And we've exchanged numbers and emails. It's a beautiful thing. So we spend day 1 going through the workbook. And what's beautiful about day 2 is we invite, there's so many nonprofits that's wanting to help that we don't know about, and that was beneficial for me as well. So on day 2, we invite all the nonprofits. We spend a day of doing interview prep, um, going over the resumes with the mentors, which are all veterans as well. And they go through and they're really honest. They normally take the resume or have them email them the resume, and they fix it and send it back and start something. Through these workshops on day 2, we've had quite a few women get jobs from the mentors that were there, because they're in positions to hire or send them somewhere with the tools needed to succeed, to truly transition in life. So I've had women come to the workshop who suffer from military sexual trauma, which we call MST, and that never spoken about it before. And I even have had a client come in who was homeless. She didn't realize she was homeless, and we did not let her leave. Before that class ended, we had the VA at the workshop, and had her a place to stay, and she's been safe since. But you just never know what you're going to get out of it and how you're going to help. I even had um, someone from Texas Veteran Commission. She was telling me that there was a client, and I wasn't even aware that she didn't speak up in the class. And that was me. When I came to the workshop, I didn't talk out loud. I listened and I took everything in, and it was good for me, but I didn't share. And this lady hadn't either. Well, she told the lady from Texas Veteran Commission that she was homeless, and she didn't want to share with everyone. And could you help? So I had no clue that she helped her and got everything taken care of through her resources. So the fact that we do this with all these nonprofits and share with them, and how much it helps in ways that we're not even aware of. I have to give a huge shout out to Equest. Equest is a horse therapy park. It's free for veterans and their families. I actually interned there for 6 months. It was the most therapeutic, amazing I've ever done. To have the veterans come out who've lost limbs and things like that, and we accommodate them, and they get on the horses, and the therapy they get out of it, it's amazing. So there's all these other nonprofits that are here to help, and we make sure they know about as many of them as possible before that workshop ends.
And a lot of those agencies and all are filtered through your program too. They're available and accessible to you, and say that we'd like to help you and all. And if you have a client that might be able to take advantage of the programs that we offer, then you connect the two.
Absolutely, yes.
You
We'll
know,
even invite them to come in and speak and tell about their program
yeah,
to the clients.
Corena, I have to believe that after 2 days, that there are a lot of your clients that look at you and say, why didn't I come sooner? Or, how come I didn't know about this sooner? And what does Attitudes and Attire do to reach that homeless or needed community out there, to let them know that your program exists?
I try to network as much as possible and stay active in the veteran community, and referrals. truthfully, referrals. And it's not just for, it's for all women veterans. To come through the program. So it's not if you're only facing homelessness, it's for everyone and even to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers as well. So come to the program, learn what we do in our passion, and stay and volunteer and work with us, provide the ladies with the workshops and things that are needed.
Yeah, I want to clarify something.
Okay.
This program is not just a female veteran program. Attitudes and Attire is a program that's available to the general female population.
That's
But
correct.
but Corena Mitchell, being a veteran, jumped in and said, "Man, you helped me, but I also know that there is a specific area of female veterans that needs some work." So you initiated a program called Boots to Heels. And so that's kind of the program you oversee, correct? And
I
that's
did I did not initiate Boots to Hills, but I've been running it for the last 5 years.
okay.
So
So is what you do in Boots to Heels kind of mirror what is being done generally for the Attitudes and Attire program?
yes, so we have our core program, which is for all women 18 and up, and we also have a Spanish speaking program as well.
Oh,
So that one is about 3 years old now, maybe four, but it's a beautiful program. We have two Spanish speaking women who work with us, and they rewrote the book that I showed in Spanish. They rewrote everything in Spanish, translated everything, and it's been very successful and amazing. And I love to see that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we also have a dental program, a free dental program for women who have missing, damaged, or broken teeth within their smile line. If they're ashamed to talk or speak, they're
yeah.
not going to be successful. So we do also have a dental program that helps women with those type of issues. So we send them through the program and get them free dental help and restore their smile. It's an amazing program.
It, and is there any cost to the clients whatsoever for the services that you offer?
No, everything is free. The only cost is when once the clients are assigned a dentist, they have a $25 copay that they pay for their labs. But other than that, everything is free.
Well, obviously, there's over 26,000 women that have taken advantage of this program, and I have to also believe that some of those 26,000 women who have found success from this program pay it forward. They're the ones that send you additional clients. They can easily connect with someone else who is maybe having trouble in their life and saying, "I need a new direction," and they say, "Listen, here's a program I went through, and you can do the same thing." So when I asked you earlier about how do people find out about it, gosh, there's 26,000 women out there that can tell you.
Yes.
And
We've
then
found every staff member can tell you we've been in a situation where we were going to speak at an event or something, and there's someone there who was like, I went through that program, and you get that testimony and you see them doing so amazing, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So we get that, and it's beautiful.
are there certain requirements from the clients and all before they are accepted into the program? Do they are they vetted in any way? I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Obviously, if they are having issues with drugs or alcohol or something, I would assume they have to probably address that first before they can get into your program to find a new direction in their life.
No, if they're trying to recover from drugs, alcohol, or even a domestic violence situation, we have referrals. We have resources that we can get them help right away.
That's outstanding. This is quite a program. I'm familiar with similar programs. And do you know, is your program a unique program that others are starting to copy around the country, or is your program based on other programs that you have researched also?
I have not found another organization like ours.
And you are just in the North Texas area.
Yes, but we do offer our workshops virtual. The only time they would have
Oh,
to be here is for the dressing.
okay.
So if the workshop is more important without the dressing, if they're anywhere else, they are more than welcome to attend. And even for volunteering, we do our volunteering to offer workshops now via Zoom as well. So we're always open for that. And honestly, with clothing donations, you would be surprised how many people mail us clothing, which we gladly accept as well.
Well, and that's an important thing that we should let our viewers know too, is to go to the website because they can find out ways that they can help. If you have gently worn clothing and accessories that you want to donate for the boutique to help these clients, that's welcome. If it's financial donations, I'm sure that that is more than welcome also. Uh, when you mention the boutique, this is a open to the public boutique that you have that people just can walk in off the streets and buy clothing to in order to help raise funds for the program.
No, we don't sell anything.
Okay.
They come through the program, they get the clothing for free.
So, and how big is the facility that you have that houses all of the clothing and accessories?
5,000 square feet.
What?
Beautiful.
Really?
Yes, it's beautiful. We work really hard. The boutique is so important and so amazing to us. And we have some amazing volunteers that help us.
Corita, I have a little bit of an interest and connection in this because my wife and I were in the women's fashion business for 40 years. And we started in the Chicago area and then moved to South Florida. And we had operations and we ran boutiques. And our largest boutique was 2,000 square feet. And now you have one that's 5,000 square feet of clothing and accessories for these clients. That to me is amazing. That to me is amazing. And who is staffing this boutique and helping these women with their attire?
So Evelyn Earl is our boutique manager and volunteer coordinator. So she's the one who leads all of that, and she cares immensely about that boutique and the program. And she if she sees us even blink, she's like, "Oh, you're not busy. Come on, I need you in the boutique." So we're always there getting everything together.
So is after this day two of the orientation and all, is that the point where you're determining what direction the clients are going to go in, if they're going to go into perhaps an office setting or they want to go into another avenue, and then take them to boutique and say, here's what you're going to need for that interview process?
We normally let them guide us on which way they want to go
Okay.
with their clothing, but we have it all. A lot of women have different styles, and we have it all for them.
Yeah, I'm curious. Obviously, if you get female veterans that come in to take advantage of the program, they probably during their military career had some MOS or something, a form of training in certain areas. If they feel they're qualified, maybe they don't want to have anything to do with that area anymore. But is the same thing true of just the general population that comes into the program, or you find that many times you're getting a lot of women that come in that were just stay-at-home moms or whatever, and they have no training at anything, and also it becomes a little more difficult for them?
Yes, with the veterans, they normally have there's more education there a lot of the times, and they a lot of times do have a better idea of what direction that they're heading into. And a lot of the veterans want to start their own businesses. They're looking for entrepreneurship. So we have a lot of resources for them. But the clients that we have that come in that's hitting that reset button, that's starting again, We have training facilities that has free training. Like you'll meet people who don't want to go to a warehouse again, and we have resources that gets them all that training for free and helps them find employment. So it's we have several programs like that that are pretty good at helping with those things.
So all of the training that they would receive beyond this 2-day orientation training, not all of it is right at your location.
Correct.
Some of it might take place at other sites.
Yes. Lynn has even met people who we could they needed training for something unique and we couldn't find anyone to do it. So we Lynn paid for it. And we honestly, which just popped in my head, we have a scholarship. And we normally pay for 1 to 2 people per year to go through some type of training as well. We had a scholarship fund donated to us in Lynn Berman's late husband's name. And so we do that as well. There's so much.
And I have to tell you, I have not met Lynn in person, just virtually and all. She is just a little wisp of a woman. I mean, she's just a tiny little lady, but man, she is a junkyard dog. I think if something needs to get done, she knows how to get it done. And I congratulate her for this program. I also congratulate her for connecting with somebody like you, because I think you're a great force. What is your background? Where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up and what did you do before you went into the military?
So I was born in Michigan, in Western Michigan, right on the lake, and on Lake Michigan.
What
And
what
my dad,
town?
it's called in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, Grand Rapids. I know Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Yep, yeah. In fact, just going up the west shore of Michigan and everything, beautiful, all the way up to Grand Rapids. And
Yes.
you're also near a place that is so dear to my heart, and that's Interlochen, which is the National Music Camp.
Hmm.
That's up that way a little bit further north.
Okay.
Uh, but no, Grand Rapids is great city. So okay,
Yes.
you grew up in Grand Rapids, and then what happened?
My dad joined the army. Well, he was already in the army, and we traveled. We moved
You
around.
moved a lot.
Yes, to tours in Germany, everywhere. So we traveled. We moved around a lot, and I grew up like that. My dad. Well, it's kind of strange. My dad and my mom both grew up Dallas Cowboys fans, and when he retired, we came to Dallas because they're Dallas Cowboys fans. So that's how we ended up in Dallas. I felt like I was missing something after he retired. I was in high school, about to graduate, so I joined. I didn't want to put the pressure of them paying for college on them, so I joined and did 16 years.
16 years. Wow. Do you feel, in the position that you're in today, that your military service really set the foundation for who Corena Mitchell is today?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I know that my service, I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I am far more organized than I ever thought I was going to be because of my military service. And I find that very often is a subject of discussion with other veterans, is that the things that they learned in the military, the camaraderie, the ability to look out for your fellow brothers and sisters, and all, is a quality that I just don't know whether that's attainable outside of the military. So, like you said earlier, nothing better to sit down in a room with some of these women, to say, I know what you're going through. I've been there and I've done that. And it probably makes them feel a little bit better that they have made the right decision to get into this program. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. That's why I share my story because it opens that conversation up. It makes I don't ever want anyone to feel like I'm above anyone. I am in the same situation. I have the same problems as everyone else. And so it's important that I share my story and relate on a personal level of my own struggles as well.
And I'm going to ask you, because I think you said you're an open book. You mentioned earlier that this program came at probably one of the lowest times in your life, uh,
Yes.
and you were almost willing to check out, and God intervened, and set a path. How do you feel when you turn and reflect back on that, and say, there's a possibility that I couldn't be in front of this camera talking about this because I may have gone a different direction, but I got that close.
I, I'm um I'm grateful for it. It made me a stronger, better person, and I can recall some of the hard times that I went through because a lot of it I don't remember, but I can remember crying, thinking, why am I going through this? Why is life so hard for me? And I have my answer now to help other people. So I am grateful for the things that I went through.
What what uh, uh, what does your husband do?
My husband, after he retired, he's a military contractor for 10 years. He recently got laid off and he's in school full time for cybersecurity.
So I mean, he's still out there fighting the battle too.
Yes, I'm very proud of him. And
Well,
I should mention that my husband was infantry. I quickly realized that he had PTSD, which he was diagnosed for, and though he rarely talks about the things he's been through, he's been deployed 4 times, and I would wake up to him fighting in his sleep and things like that, and not understanding it. So the one story that he ever shared with me, I believe that I started discounting my experiences because he had been through such difficult things as well. And I believe that's why it took me so long to even realize what was going on with me and getting help, because I wasn't necessarily identifying as a veteran because I hadn't been through the things that he had. And so I discounted my service for a long time until I realized that it had truly affected me.
it is staggering to me in some of the information that I read, about your program, the Boots to Heels program, and all. I really wasn't aware that one of the stats was that 14% of all active duty forces are women.
I did
14%.
not know
14% is a very large number, and 14,000, more than 14,000 veteran women will have spent at least one night in a shelter. That's
Yes, that's true. To include myself.
and to think that some of them are alone, some of them are maybe single moms, and all facing those question marks as to where do I go, what do I do, how do I save myself, or as in your case, maybe it's not worth even pursuing, and just end it all here. That's a lot of people that are faced with those decisions on an ongoing basis, and we're talking probably thousands and thousands and thousands more. And all you concentrate just on this North Texas area, but the stories you must hear. um, how is it for you in order to listen to these stories and one say, I have lived your life, but also to say, I can help you undo that hurt? Because you're doing that in a 2-day program, and that day one is when you're getting these people together to say, as you said, we work on the inside first. That has got to be an extremely intense one day.
It is intense, but it ends so happy. I always end the workshop by asking the women to tell the woman sitting next to them what was their first impression of them. And the answers, the responses are always so beautiful, and so we're crying happy tears. So it ends on a happy note. And the one important thing that we teach is self-care, putting ourselves first. I can't be a wife, a mom, a friend a daughter if I can't give them what they need and want if I'm not taking care of myself. So we really push self-care. And so that's one thing that I take very serious with the workshop is taking care of myself as well so that I can help the clients and be there for them the way that they're needed so that they can help themselves, but also my family and my friends. So that's what I learned because sometimes you come home and you hear stories and it takes a few days to process it and get past it. But once I do, I'm good and my mind is clear and free and available to help.
Are there a lot of cases where the people that have gone through this program go on, they become successful, and they stay in touch with you and come back to thank you, but also maybe to address other clients that are coming into the program?
All the time. I would like to think that I keep in contact with probably about 70% of the women who come through our program. I stay in contact with them. I'm checking on them. They're checking on me. I've made some amazing friendships, and yes,
I got to believe that there's a book in all of this, maybe, because you probably could write a book about how you have elevated these people from a point of being about as close to the gutter as possible, and now all of a sudden they are showing success, and it was all thanks to this boots to heels and the attitudes and attire program.
you're not the first person who mentioned that, and I've always aspired to be an author, so it is definitely a consideration.
Well, we also live in this world of podcasts. You can always do some of that via podcasting too.
Absolutely.
So what are your visions for the future of your programs that you're doing in reaching people, and what do you see the Attitudes and Attire program, say 3 to 5 years from now?
I would like to see more of the clients come back and volunteer and share their stories of where they were and where they've come. I would like that continue and more in person. Really, the world of Zoom and Teams and everything else has kind of taken away from that in person, and we still need that. I actually, Women's Veterans Day is coming in June, and I want to do an in person workshop where I do some type of self care, and I love cooking. I love to cook, so I was thinking of making chicken tacos to see the women come in and catch up and make those new connections and share what they have going on. So I would like to see more of that. Just more of us being together and loving each other and helping each other.
Have you heard from any of your people? And I have to believe that a lot of them that have gone through the program and become successful maybe have left the Texas area and relocated elsewhere in the country. Have any of them come back and said, you know what, I would like to set up an Attitude and Attire program in Colorado where I live now, or I'm living in St. Louis and they don't have a program like this. And what about having a program like that there?
I have had that happen. I always refer them to Lynn as it's her program. But yes, we have had people come who've moved away wanting to start a program similar in their areas.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, COVID forced us all to start doing things virtually. But when you mentioned earlier that during day one, when you sit and you hug each other and you shed tears of joy and happiness and redemption with each other, that's something you can't do virtually very well. You have to have that in arm experience. And that has to mean so much, not only to your clients, but it must mean an awful lot to Corena Mitchell to get that feeling that I am making a difference.
Absolutely.
You are a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you, Stuart.
You really are. You're the general program of Attitudes and Attire. Folks, check it out. Please consider making a monetary donation, and if you have clothing that you can donate to their boutique, they might have 5,000 square feet, but I'm sure that they got a couple of corners they can still add some additional. And you said you had sizes 00 to 18X,
8X.
8X. I mean, that to me, in my business, we were lucky to go from small to extra large. That was it. That is a heck of a broad spectrum of sizes. That's wonderful. Well, and also the very, very best of luck to you in the future with your Boots to Heels program, because right now we don't have as many boots on the ground around the world, but we still have our veterans, and some of them are doing well, some of them are hurting. And those that are in the North Texas area, you have got the Boots to Heels program and Corena Mitchell to reach out to. We've had the email address on the screen, and I'll reach out to Corena at attitudesandattire.org. And she'll answer your questions and give you some great advice and tell you, and maybe it's not for you. It may be for somebody that that needs some assistance, and they're there to help you. Corena, thank you for taking the time to share your stories and all. I always say, be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. And it's very, very true of Corena Mitchell. She's already taken. That'll do it for another edition of Someone You Should Know. Thank you again, Corena Mitchell, for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you, Stuart.
Someone You Should Know